We're going to take a look at parallel lines and transversals. Alright, so we're going to make a new chapter tab, so cut it all the way down. And then make a tab, and we're going to title that tab Exploring Angle Pairs. Exploring Angle Pairs. Alright, you're going to fold your page in a hot dog style, just like this. And take your ruler and just cut across where you made your tab. So then your tab still sticks out while your other page remains hot dog. Cut it about halfway through, just like I'm doing there, and then cut half of that again, and half of the other side. By doing that, you're going to make 4 equal tabs. If you want to like count boxes or measure it out, you can, but it's just faster to cut half and half. Alright, go ahead and pause the video and copy that down. It goes adjacent angles, vertical angles, then complementary angles and supplementary angles. Alright, adjacent angles, they're angles that are right next to one another and they share the same vertex. Vertical angles look like a folding V's. They are congruent, and the word congruent means exactly the same. Congruent means exactly the same, so you're going to see that a lot actually. Complementary angles, these are angles that adds up to 90 degrees. What you need to do is find the L with a little box in the corner. Supplementary angles or linear pair, so either name, are angles that add up to 180 degrees, and what you need to do is find the straight line. So any straight line is 180 degrees. This is a listening check. Underline the word straight. So the first thing that you ever do when you're dealing with angle pairs is, number one, you always draw a picture and you label it. Draw a picture and label it. Number two, ask yourself, what is the relationship? Number three, what is the setup? Once you know the relationship, how do you set it up? Number four, do the algebra. And then number 5, which I'll write later, is make sure you answer the question. So let's take a look at adjacent angles. Alright, so let's look at a question that says BD bisects. And the word bisects, bi means 2, sec means to cut, right? So this is cut in 2, so cut in half. So the word bisect means cut in half. Alright, so BD bisects angle ABC. Solve for C if the measure of angle ABD, so that little m means measure, or like what the angle is worth, is 10C minus 7, and the measure of DBC is 8 plus 2C. You don't need to copy that third thing down. I'm going to cancel it later. If you're copying it down, you're obviously not listening. So we're going to first draw it, so ABC, and BD bisects that, so it cuts it in half. So we're going to cut this angle in half, and that's going to be our line BD. Alright, so that means that angle is equal to that other angle. So now let's label it. So ABD is 10C minus 7. This is a listening check. Put a box around the number 1. Step 1, put a box around it. And then DBC is 8 plus 2C. The question is, what is the relationship? Okay, so adjacent angles are right next to each other. See, adjacent angles are right next to each other and serve the same vertex, which means they have a V together. So bisect means cut in half. So that means this angle is equal to this angle. So how do I set that up? Well, they're both equal to one another. So 10C minus 7 is equal to 8 plus 2C. Alright, once you set it up, do the algebra. So go ahead and draw a river, boxes with the variables, circles with the numbers. Don't forget the symbols. Move stuff to the other side. Don't forget that when you move, you change. So that's going to be 8C equals 15. And I make a mistake there, so that's why you should be listening and not just copying down. Divide both sides by 8, you're going to get C is equal to 15 over 8. Again, if you're listening, you're not going to write that 7. Alright, so the measure of angle ABD is equal to 10C minus 7. So you're going to plug in 15 over 8, for C. So you're going to get, this is a listening check, color in C equals 15 over 8. Color it in. 10 times 15 over 8 minus 7 over 8. And I'm just adding subtracting fractions. Don't know how to do this, just plug it in the calculator. But to add and subtract fractions, you have to make the denominator the same. So once you make the denominator the same, you subtract it, so you get 94 over 8. which is simplifies by 2 to 47 over 4, which if you put in the calculator is 11.75. I'm just going to check if my answer makes sense. So 15 divided by 8 is 1.875, times 2 is that, plus 8 is 11.75. And that makes sense because the other angle is exactly the same. Alright, so let's take a look at vertical angles. So these are folding V's. Find A if one of these angles is 15A minus 2, the other one is negative 2A plus 183, the other one is 2A minus 3. So folding V's are V's that fold onto each other. So I'm just going to draw with the color pencil so you can see it. There's a V and it folds into this other V. And what can you see about these two V's? They're exactly the same because vertical angles are congruent. Okay, so I don't need this extra thing. So sometimes they put in extra things for nothing, okay? What's the relationship? They're congruent. So how do I set up congruent? Congruent means they're exactly the same. So I put them equal to each other. 15A minus 2 equals 2A minus 3. Boxes and circles, don't forget the symbols. Start moving things across the river. So that's going to be negative 2A. That's going to be positive 2. Combine like terms. 13A equals negative 1. Divide both sides by 13. A equals negative 1 over 13. And did I answer the question? Okay, so be careful in geometry to check if you answer the question. The question was find A, and so I answered it. Take a look at complementary angles. They add up to 180. So find the measure of 1, given that the measure of angle 1 is 6z minus 2, and the measure of angle 2 is 4z plus 12, and the angle 1 and that angle 1 and angle 2 are complementary. This is a listening check. Color in the word complementary in the question that we're just writing down. So again, draw a picture and label it. So we have two angles that are complementary, which means they add up to 90 degrees. One of those angles is 6z minus 2. The other one is 4z plus 12. And they add to 90 degrees, meaning they make an L with that little box in the corner. All right, what's the setup? Well, those two angles have to add up to 90 degrees. So we're saying 6z minus 2 plus the second angle, 4z plus 12, has to equal 90 degrees. Draw a river, boxes and circles, don't forget the symbols, let's move stuff. So that's going to be plus 2 and minus 12. And that's going to combine like terms, be 10z equals 90 minus 12 plus 2 is 80. Divide both sides by 10. So you get z is equal to 8. Again, did I answer the question? Okay, geometry is really big on this. Did you answer the question? So the question was find the angle, the measure of angle 1. Well, I haven't answered that because I just found z. So I have to find the measure of angle 1, which is 6z minus 2. So wherever you see a z, you're going to put 8. So it's 6 times 8 minus 2, which is going to give you 48 minus 2, which gives you 46 degrees. So the measure of angle 1 is 46 degrees. All right, let's take a look at the final one. Supplementary angles or linear pairs, they add up to 180 degrees. So given that angle 1 and angle 2 are supplementary, and angle 1 is 8x plus 20, and the measure of angle 2 is 7x plus 10, find the measure of angle 2. This is a listening check. Go ahead and color in the word supplementary in the sentence that we're just writing down. Alright, so again, draw a picture and label it. So supplementary, what does that mean? That means it makes a straight line. So let's make a straight line. And that is split into two angles because they're given two angles. So one of them is 8x plus 20. The other one is 7x plus 10. And what do we know about these two angles? They add up to 180. They make a straight line. So what's the setup for that? What's the relationship in the setup? Well, they add up to 180. So 8x plus 20 plus the other angle, 7x plus 10, has to equal 180. Boxes and circles, don't forget the symbols. Let's start moving stuff. So that's going to be negative 20 and negative 10. So we're going to get, combining like terms, 15x is equal to 150. Divide both sides by 15. You're going to get x is equal to 10. Did you answer the question? Are you done? Okay, make sure you answer the question. So let's take a look. What is the question? Find measure of angle 2. So I'm not done. Okay, so the measure of angle 2 is 7x plus 10. Where I see an x, I'm not going to put 10. So it's going to be 7 times 10 plus 10. which is going to be 70 plus 10, which the measure of angle 2 is 80 degrees. And that's pretty much it. So let's practice.